Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to each and every one of you fine people. Thanks for tuning in for another episode here on the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel. And this is, of course, our map, the only Farm Sim 17 map that we are currently playing at this particular moment. And this is episode number 17. Okay, so we are going to do some odd jobs today. I will hopefully they won't be too odd in the way that they're carried out, but they're just going to be some things that we kind of need to do to sort of sort of transition out of spring and into summer, and without sort of overcommitting too much, because we certainly, we could possibly mow this area here again, but I don't think it's 100%, and I would rather err on the side of caution and basically wait until we have 100% or closer to 100% productivity out of the yield, out of the grass and everything, before we go to the trouble of cutting it again. Let me turn on my beacons here so we're just a little bit more legal driving down the highway. I've got hard worker. I've got Billy Bob. He is back feeling okay to drive a tractor again, and he is spraying the second wheat field, which we'll see him in just a moment. It won't take him very long to get that field sprayed. He's going to do one headland around it, and then probably do like 1.5 up and downs, and that's going to probably be all of that. Hopefully he's not going to get into any issues over there, get tangled up on any fences or anything like that. He is overly cautious, and possibly rightfully so. So hope everyone is having just a marvelous, wonderful time with your day. Let me just look at this now. I know that I had a little bit of a snag in my recording plans, because what I was originally going to do this week was record another episode of ETS2. It was going to be sort of back to back. You had ETS2 in the week before, and you were going to have ETS2 again this week, simply to get the numbering, the episode numbers to match up, because I was ahead on the ATS episodes by one, and so I wanted to kind of, there goes Billy Bob, doing a fine job as we almost take out the fence post there. But anyway, with the updates to both ETS2 and ATS, I need to do some updating of some mods, and Pro Mods is the one that is going to take a little bit of time just to get that downloading, get it installed and everything. I just really didn't have the time to do that before I wanted to record, and so I will get that sorted out. But today, as you're watching this video, based on my schedule, and again, I know there was some question as to whether you were going to get 3 videos or you were going to get 4 videos this week, I went ahead and made the executive decision, because hey, that's what I am. I am the executive producer, the executive director, the executive whatever. Mainly I'm just the chief bottle washer around here at Grizzly Bear Sims, but in any event, I went ahead and made the decision to get 4 videos out this week. So today is June 1st, by the way. It is Friday the 1st of June, and can you believe it? So we're going to, let's see, we don't need to do that. Let me back up here just a minute and turn that off, and then we're going to, I'm sorry, I always have to kind of, there we go, I always have to kind of struggle to remember what I have to do. I don't do the auto unloading stuff frequently enough, I suppose. It was a couple of possibly a couple of episodes ago that we did it. Well, that's not bad. I mean, I think we're getting about $4,220 per pallet of hay pellets, and of course that is it. The hay pellets are done now. There are no more hay pellets, because there essentially is no more hay at this particular point in time, and there won't be any until at least until the grass grows a little bit more. A wee bit more is what I'd like to have the grass do, just that way we can, because I think, I guess from the season's perspective, and the time perspective and everything that's involved, we definitely have time, and most likely the growth stages and everything will allow for at least 2 more cuttings. I would certainly assume, maybe even more. We've already cut everything once in spring. It's looking pretty good. I don't think it's 100%. I don't think it's there to be cut again necessarily. But tomorrow is the first day of summer, so we'll probably get another cutting in the summer, at least 1 more cutting in the summer, and quite honestly, probably get a cutting in the fall at some point, or maybe even 2. So we've got obviously we've got the field back here at the industrial facility. We've got the field there at our own farm, the hay pellet production farm, and then we've got the 2 leased fields that we have access to, and all we really need to do with those is just make sure that we leave them in a better state than than how we stepped foot on them initially to begin with. So that means fertilizing and just keeping things tidied up, cleaned up, and stuff like that. So having said all of that, I think we're okay. We're going to do all right with our hay. I don't know if we'll do any more hay pellets, because I think we'll probably run some straw pellets through. I'm assuming, and this is really the first time that I have paid much attention at all to the pellet haul process and making pellets and selling them and everything, sort of the whole, sort of utilizing the whole aspect of the mod itself. This is kind of the first time that I've really done that. We've sort of dabbled with it back on Snetterton Farm for just a little bit, but not anything as extensive as kind of what I've been putting into it with this series. But I would assume that hay pellets are probably worth more. The value of a pallet of hay pellets is probably worth more than that of straw pellets would be my guess. But in any event, we've got some folks that need the straw pellets, that need those produced, and so we are the producer here in this neck of the woods, and so we have obviously an obligation to do a little bit of that. So we will do that, but I don't know if we'll do any more hay necessarily. I like the concept of the pallet haul. I like the fact that it gives us something else to do. That's always a very good thing. Having something else to do is good. But it's quite more labor intensive than some of the other production facility type placeables or mods. With the compost facility, really all we need to do with that is really just verify and validate that we have oops, there goes my safety alarm, that we have compost placed in them. I'm going to drop this weight here underneath this shade tree so I'll remember where I've hidden it, or I won't remember where I've hidden it. Of course, I'll probably run over it a couple of times. But anyway, as I was saying, it's a little more labor and time intensive than some of the other placeable type mods are. It goes fairly quick, regardless of kind of how you have your times. And speaking of time, I need to kick my time up just a little bit. Let me run it at 15 minutes for just a tad here. But anyway, it runs, and it requires our interaction, which hey, that's why we put these things on the map, right? To give ourselves something to do. But it does require a little bit more of our time per se than, say, the compost facility. The compost facility, we can bring over a load of something, manure as what we're going to bring over this morning or today, or we can bring over, I'm trying to remember, how do I get to, here it is up here. We can bring over straw or whatever, and as long as we've got diesel in the facility, in the tank, and everything, it's just going to kind of run on its own, and it's going to process whatever it's going to process. But with the pellet facility, actually, it requires a lot more of our attention because it won't take very long at all before before basically 3 pallets have been put together and are waiting for us to come along and shift those, move those off of the move those off of the platform there. So anyway, you know, really and truthfully, the pellet facility, you kind of need to be there, you know, pretty much constantly working it. And in my opinion, with how I enjoy playing some of these add-on types of things, I mean, I play this game because of the farming aspects of it. And I see the Billy Bob is slipping, so we'll go help him out, and I'll do that and do an edit. But it's sort of about, you know, the farming aspects is what I truly enjoy about the game. I like the other characteristics and the other bits and pieces because it does sort of breaks up the monotony just a little bit, but I'm not sure that I want to like fully dedicate myself to one thing which is not necessarily related to farming per se, plowing, cultivating, seeding, harvesting, etc. I don't know if I want to constantly do something like that for, you know, hours upon hours upon hours. I'm just not sure that it interests me that much to sort of do it that way. I don't know. You tell me how do you sort of manage it? So literally, I think when I had when I had the hopper full and I had a scoop full, basically just sort of feeding it, gravity feeding it as the hopper ran out, it could do 3 pallets in, I think, something like, you know, felt like 15 to 20 minutes, because I mean, basically I do my episodes about 30 minutes, you know, of time, so I'm playing for about 30 minutes, and there really is only maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes upon average of material that basically falls on the cutting room floor. So here's an example. I'm going to do an edit cut, but it's only going to take me about 30 seconds to go over to the other tractor, stop him so that we get rid of this message here on the screen, and then get back. So obviously that time that stuff falls on the cutting room floor. So hang on just a minute. And just like magic, we're back. And yeah, that took all of about 20 seconds to just jump over there, basically cut that tractor off of course play, and then get back. So obviously that falls on the floor. But for the most part, for an episode like this, where I don't have multiple courseplay vehicles getting tangled up and causing problems and everything, only probably about 30 seconds or so of this video is going to end up on the cutting room floor, as I say, and that's not too bad. All right, so we need to get our status up here to the Phrase. This is a wonderful little piece of kit that I absolutely love, and I suppose it's kind of like cheating, I guess, in a sense. But you know, hey, something like this really does exist in the real world, and so it can do multiple things. I have seen real life farming videos where they use a similar apparatus to this to essentially blow not compost but silage into an awaiting tipper, or basically back into a bunker if it's kind of spilled out and such. And so and obviously, you know, we've got mechanisms like this that will essentially handle snow and other types of things. So, you know, hey, it's not too unrealistic. I mean, it would be one thing if we were you know, flying around in say a Star Wars X-wing fighter or something like that. That's a little bit unrealistic since that doesn't sort of exist. But hey, using something similar to this to scoop up some manure. Again, it may not be how they do it, because I guess it really depends on how sloppy and heavy and thick the manure is. But this is fairly dry and somewhat lightweight, and this little auger is handling the job fantastically. And so this is again just another one of the examples of things that we kind of need to do, just to kind of make sure that these tasks and some of these projects are not going to get in our way when it comes time to harvesting. Now, of course, we have several weeks before we probably get into the harvest. I don't necessarily know if we're going to get the opportunity to do an early harvest on the wheat like we did in Midtown USA, or we could have done on Tazewell. So that is sort of yet to be known, I suppose. 44,571 liters. Let me just see if the pigs is showing up here, and if we've got enough room to put the pig manure, and we don't. That's 15,000. So what we will do is we will go ahead and get rid of that F1 menu, and we'll turn the Frase off, and we will put the pipe away, and we're going to head over to the compost facility with this load, and then we will come back by the pig facility, get that 16,000 liters of material there, and then take that over to the compost facility as well. So this will earn us, a little bit as we knock that sign down. We'll have to tip the county when they come around and put these signs back up for us. But oh well, better turn our hazards on, since we're definitely a little bit of a dangerous apparatus driving down the highway. But it's all in it's all in how you want to play the game, and what I say, there's no right or wrong ways to do it. There's no right or wrong ways to play any of these types of simulation-based games. Yeah, there are some folks that are sort of ultra passionate about extreme realism and all this kind of stuff, and I take my hat off to them, and I do try to play farm sim with as much possible realism as the game allows, within reason and within my own individual time constraints and stuff like that. To me, as an example, I have tried multiple times to like the more realistic mod. I have tried multiple times to like and use and enjoy the manual gearbox mod and stuff like that for ultra realism, but in my opinion they are problematic. They're not perfect, and it's possible, and I've talked about this before. I think with the example of the more realistic mod, just as an example, and this is just my opinion, I think the more realistic mod is flawed, but only flawed because of the limitations that Farm Sim 17, the game itself, the game engine itself, the way that Giants have things set up. The more realistic mod is flawed because of that. It can only do so much as far as trying to bring about to the player, the individual player that's playing it and using the mod. It can only do so much as far as mimicking the performance characteristics of a tractor, 400 horsepower tractor with a 50,000 liter tipper on the back. There's only just so much that it can kind of do to mimic what that is and how that works and everything. And so it is what it is, as I often say, and it's okay. I think that sorry about that noisy compost facility, but I think as a community, we're probably not really going to get things that are super realistic. Almost said super what is that saying that is part of that show? Anyway, I'm not going to embarrass myself any further with that. But it's I think we really need Giants to put more of that immersion, more of that realism and performance characteristics and everything. The way the physics, I think that needs to be put into into the layer of the game code and everything before we can really have ultra immersion and stuff like that, especially when it comes to some of those kind of things. But hey, what do I know? So I have never scooped up manure over here. So we're going to have to investigate and see where the manure gets picked up at. So just we're gonna leave our tractor set here as we run across the street and go and investigate where our manure collects at this fine facility. So let's just hop the fence because, well, we can. So we've got some piggies and everything in here. They're probably looking for their 13 friends that we carted off yesterday. Well, their 13 friends are enjoying a very relaxing vacation style entertainment and stuff. Oh, there it is, right over there. Okay, so that's convenient. And how do we get here? We can get here through this gate here, and it looks like this gate is the pigs can't get through here. So yeah, so we'll just hop these fences again like we're a high school track star, which I was never. Used to, obviously I didn't do the hurdles. I used to run cross country. I've not really been a, what you might call, athlete. I had, I've got some athletic abilities, true enough. I enjoy certain things. I enjoy doing certain things. We're going to go up here and turn around. I enjoy doing certain things. I used to enjoy golf, but golf became more of a stressful situation for me than it ever sort of gave me pleasure, because I'm sort of a perfectionist, and I think I let that sort of ruin my golfing experience. I enjoy biking and cycling and stuff like that with limited sort of limited exposure to those things. I'm not going to become a hardcore cyclist or anything like that, but I do enjoy the opportunity from time to time. And so, but with regards to like running and hurdles and stuff like that, I never was that good at those kind of sports. I enjoyed tennis, but probably was never really that good at it. But I enjoyed it. My wife and I still occasionally go up to our tennis courts at our homeowners association area here and enjoy a little match of tennis from time to time. But I have always been the type that I enjoy things that I can also kind of take in and appreciate nature and stuff like that. So when I was in high school, I felt like this then too. And so cross country was kind of my deal, because I could run cross country track, and I had something to look at. I sort of had something to look at as far as the scenery and stuff like that. And literally a lot of the times where we would run, and what we would do is we were literally running cross country through the woods and things like that, and it was rather kind of cool. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the things, being able to see stuff and experience nature and everything as I was doing my thing, running track. And I suppose my issue was I didn't have a lot of speed, but I had sort of the stamina. So cross country running a longer distance race for me was probably a better. Oops, let's go shut that gate, because you know me. I've really tried to be more gate aware this series than I have been in the past. So there we go. So anyway, that's sort of my story about my athletic kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm sure you guys don't dial in to hear about my athleticism lacking or not, but in any event, that is what it is. All right, so let's take this over to the compost facility and put it in there, and that will have given us over 50,000 liters of material that we've put in. And then we also need to most likely fill up the fuel on the compost facility, because I think it had less than 2,000 liters in it, and might as well just sort of let it churn over here on its own. But as you can kind of tell, I think this might be a kind of a good example of comparing things between the compost facility and say, for example, the pellet hall. And I think it's already run out of diesel, so that's either that or it ran through that, because I had my time still set at 15x speed. But I really don't think the pellet hall speed, the time that you have set, I could be wrong, but I don't think it really has much influence on how much pellets it produces, because it's only going to hold, no, it ran out of fuel. It's only going to hold those 3 pallets. All right, get us a sneaky little screenshot there really quick. All right, so we're going to just going to pull this guy right over here, and I realize that we're getting pretty close to our magic number of 30 minutes there, but we need to go ahead and put some diesel in there while we're on this side of town. Make every trip count, not do anything that is wasteful as far as time goes. So we'll get in our little T7 heavy-duty tractor here. Hopefully the emphasis is on the heavy, on the word heavy, is enough to maneuver this little Shell fuel tanker. It probably is. I don't know if I've done this before or not. I really don't know how many times I have filled up the compost facility. I think maybe just once. So we've produced quite a bit of compost. I have memories of filling up at least 2 trailers of compost that I can remember, and carrying it over to the garden center. So not too bad, I suppose. Not too bad at all. Of course, we'll be running a lot more compost through it once we get to the fall harvest time frame, because obviously we're going to have an abundance of we're going to have some straw that we're going to be able to put in there, and that's going to be good stuff. All right, so let's see if we can get our fill point there, and we do. And we're down to about 20,000 liters. I didn't think we had as much. I guess maybe it makes more biodiesel than I assumed that it would. But I suppose the way that I'm sort of playing with these, we're going to go ahead and shut it off there. We're going to leave ourselves that says 45, almost 4,600 liters of fuel. We're going to leave that there for our farm use, just in case. But I suppose the way that I'm playing these placeables is pretty much, I'm not spending a whole lot of time off camera over here, with the exception of maybe, I think once I loaded up the tipper off camera, just because I'm so I've got 2 left hands and 26 thumbs of the wrong persuasion and everything to really do that and do it justice and make it entertaining and everything. I sort of struggle through it, but I think I've done that once off camera, and then we'll go ahead and fill up the compost master. It's probably going to kick on, so watch your ears, and I'm assuming that we need to leave the tractor connected to the tipper to do that. So I'll start wrapping things up, because we're at about 30 minutes now, and I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. I absolutely do. It is actually early in the morning on the 17th of May, and normally I would already be in the office by now, but I've got a 7 o'clock dentist appointment, just a routine dentist appointment, cleaning and everything, and so I didn't necessarily want to drive into the office and get there for 20 minutes and potentially get interrupted with somebody's problems or whatever, And so I just decided, well, I would straighten this up just a little bit, push it back a little further. There we go. But anyway, it is the early morning hours of the 17th of May, and you guys are watching this on the 1st of June. Now, I'm not going to get any more than about 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks ahead of schedule. That is where I want my comfort level to be, because again, remember, I've got a potential business trip coming up in June that I'm going to be away from home for about 4 days all total, and be away from being able to record for about 4 days. So my buffer will then go back down again to about a week and a half or so of advanced videos, and then I'm going to need to work again to kind of build that back up a little bit for my vacation time. In my vacation time, my goal is to have 3 weeks worth of videos recorded, edited, rendered, uploaded, activated, set for a scheduled release, 3 weeks worth, because we're going to be out of the country for 2 weeks, and it always takes me just a little bit of time to get back into the swing of things, realize which side of the world I'm on, and all that kind of stuff once we get back home. And so I know that you all will understand if I were to even take a 2-week vacation and not have any videos at all. I know you guys would understand that, because hey, everybody deserves a vacation. Everybody deserves a vacation from your real job. If you work for a living still, you're not retired. In other words, you take a break. It doesn't mean that you still have to, even though sometimes we have to work just as hard before our vacation starts, and we have to work hard after our vacation is over, simply because maybe we're the only people that do the type of job that we do, and that is often my case, where I work really hard a week or two leading up to my vacation, and then end up working really hard upon getting back from vacation. Then I start to think to myself, now why the heck did I even go on vacation? Because I am just absolutely exhausted after I've gotten back, because I've had to work so hard to catch up, and I have very, the memory is fading of my relaxing vacation. But anyway, that's kind of a different thing there. But anyway, I know you would understand, but the point that I'm making is that I want to keep the channel going. I want to keep videos posted, even though I'll be in a completely different time zone that I'm normally in. I'll still have a little bit of time in the evenings to catch up on comments and stuff like that. So that'll all be good stuff. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to off camera run the Fraze back over to the forestry area, and I'll try to remember where I put the weight. I can see it right there, so hopefully I should be able to retain that information. Get back, and then I need to get to my dentist appointment and get my regular Thursday day going. It's been a pleasure spending time with you this morning, and I appreciate you tuning into my channel each and every time. Take very good care of yourself and also of each other. God bless you all, and I will see you all down the road here back on Green River. Take care now. Bye-bye.